Good morning, hello, and welcome to this webinar 6 IT Help Desk Lessons from the Casinos of Vegas. I'm Ashwin, the ITSM evangelist at ManageEngine. So, if you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please leave them on the question section and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Before we begin, let me take you through a quick introduction about ManageEngine. ManageEngine is the enterprise IT management division of Zoho, which you all might know is a cloud application provider for your business, collaboration, and productivity. ManageEngine offers more than 2 dozen enterprise IT management solutions, starting from your help desk to Active Directory management tools, network monitoring tools, desktop device management tools, and advanced IT analytic tools. During my tenure as the IT evangelist here, I've been traveling across multiple ITSM conferences in the United States, and most of them, including the top conferences like the Pink, HTA, or Fusion, happen in the Las Vegas. And this city has always amazed me. There is no single dull day in this city, and there is something happening 24 hours across the city somewhere. And in one such visit to a ITSM conference in Las Vegas, it struck me that our help desks are no different from these casinos. Our help desks are also buzzing with activity 24 hours a day, and there is no single dull day. Somewhere from some site or some office, a ticket is registered into our help desk. Some server or a component in your network decides to go on raising alarms around your IT network, or a change has to be implemented at 2 a.m. While the business is sleeping to ensure business doesn't take a hit, and so goes the line of different similarities. Similarly, the risks involved with IT service management are also huge. These are some of the examples where simple IT mistakes hit businesses in a really bad way. The first is the case of Knight Capital Group in 2012. This is a financial services company in US which lost about $440 million in 30 minutes, which is about double the value of the company in 2012. And this was because of an untested software deployment that started buying high and selling low, burning cash every single second the software was on, and it had to be halted just to minimize the damage. And second is a case where more than financial losses, millions and millions of people's lives were also affected. It is the case where number of customer transactions at RBS and NatWest and a series of other banks went missing in 2012 and in 2015 because again of due to a software update that corrupted the files. Here, apart from the $56 million that was fined to these banks, the lives of people were impacted in a way that most people did not receive their wages, their tax credits, or their loans into their accounts on the right time, or they were not able to make payments, even emergency payments like hospital bills, on the right time. And finally, the one and the recent outage that affected most of people across the globe, bringing down a number of business websites, including the top names in the industry, was the AWS S3 outage, again, which happened because of a simple human IT error. Now, such is the risks that are also involved with IT service management, like in any gambling event. So in this webinar, we'll discuss about 6 IT help desk lessons from the casino flows that could help us minimize these risks, improve help desk team performance, and also optimize service delivery. So these are the 6 lessons that we'll be seeing. The first is about simple process automations that can help improve the efficiency of a help desk team. The second is about the necessity of transparency between the end users and the IT help desk. The next is about IT firefighting. And then we'll discuss about asset management, measuring the right metrics, and finally handling guidelines and ITIL best practices. So, for the first lesson of the webinar, this lesson is from one of my favorite, or actually, to be frank, one of the very few games that I've tried in a casino, the roulettes. And for a matter of fact, this is my personal favorite for one reason, that this is a very simple and an innocent looking game. You place your bet on a few numbers, sit back and pray that your luck works out and the roulette ball falls on the right roulette pocket. And if it does, I keep winning. If it doesn't, I keep losing. As simple as that. Now, on a parallel, imagine the roulette balls to be the tickets coming into our help desk system. If these tickets land in the hands of the right technician or the support group, things go fine. If they don't, everyone's in for a trouble. Unlike a roulette where you need lots of luck and prayers to get the right ticket to the right technician, all you need is just some simple process automations. In an ideal help desk setup, an incident workflow should happen like this. Users create an incident through web forms, email, or a phone call. The ticket is automatically categorized, then it is prioritized based on the impact and urgency, and then it is checked if it is a major incident that affects the whole of the organization, and if it is diverted to a major incident workflow, or if it isn't, it is then diverted or assigned to a technician who works on it, diagnoses it, provides a solution, and resolves it ultimately. But sadly, this is not the case that happens every day in our help desks. Most of the time, when a user creates a ticket, the ticket lands in a queue where it remains unassigned, waiting for an IT help desk admin or an IT coordinator to come in, scan, read, understand each ticket, categorize them, try to prioritize them, and then assign them to a technician. Now, in this duration, where this manual process occurs, which is prone to errors and which is time extensive, end users lose their patience and they start sending in more emails, or worse, they start creating more tickets for the same issue, leading to multiple confusions and SLA violations and escalations, etc. The impact of such a scenario is multifold. Say, for example, a ticket related to a mail issue comes in, waits in a queue for some time, and then manually gets categorized, prioritized, and assigned, but assigned wrongly to a technician who deals with network issue. Obviously, the resolution time is going to be longer, and there are high chances that SLAs will be violated and escalations will be put into place. Also, there are chances that incorrect resolutions might be provided to these tickets because of the lack of expertise of the technician who is handling these tickets in case of a wrong assignment. And this might lead to repeat incidents, which again add to the existing ticket backlog. Now, all of these factors impact one major metric or one major measure of your IT helpdesk performance, which is the customer satisfaction levels. And the solution to these are simple IT process automations. So Gartner report suggests that these process automations can help you provide consistent, measurable, and better quality repeatable services at optimal cost. These ID process automation not just mention complex asset management procedures or change workflows, but they also include simple processes like guiding your incoming ticket to the right technician with proper categorization and prioritization. So, here are some actionable best practices or tips that can help you set up such a process and improve the efficiency of your team. This starts with having or publishing multiple incident templates on your self service portal, which makes it easier for your end users to raise tickets and at the same time ensures that all the necessary information is collected right at the time of ticket creation. And then you can create a priority matrix which defines priority as a function of impact and urgency, helping your system prioritize the tickets automatically. And then categorization can be done by putting in simple process automations in place. For example, in Service Desk Plus, it could be done using business rules which help you perform multiple actions on a ticket, like assigning category, moving into a particular technician, or changing priority or whatever based on the ticket parameters. And then after a ticket is prioritized and categorized appropriately, it can be automatically moved to a technician by a technician auto assign technique, which uses multiple algorithms like the round robin method or the load balancing method to assign tickets. Or again, you can use the business rules, as I mentioned earlier, which was nothing but simple process automations to guide the tickets to the specific technician, and also ensure that SLAs are set before a ticket reaches the technician, so that both the technician and the end user are aware of the service level expectations. And all throughout this process, right from the time of ticket creation to resolving and closing the incident, the communication mechanism between the end users and the help desk should be automated. Now for a quick demo on how all these can be done with Service Desk Plus. So let me start with business rules, which I mentioned are simple process workflows which you can use to handle the ticket based on multiple ticket parameters. Say, for example, the rule name is CEO ticket, and you want the ticket that comes in from the CEO to be handled at utmost priority and urgency. So, say the CEO is Adam, you choose OK and add to the rules. And you can perform actions like setting the priority as critical and setting the urgency as system failure, which is a maximum urgency, and save this particular rule. So whenever a ticket is raised by Adam, it is treated as a high priority ticket and the urgency is also high. Now, then to show you technician auto assign, which I said automatically assigns tickets to help desk technician based on algorithms like round robin, which just goes on assigning tickets in the order of A, B, C, D, E to technicians, and then load balancing, which assigns tickets based on the load that the particular technician is handling already. So a technician who has the most number of tickets gets assigned with the ticket at the last. And you can exclude certain technicians from being auto assigned and also enable exceptions where tickets matching these criteria will not be auto assigned. Now, moving on to the communication mechanism automation, it can be done using the notification rules, where you can choose when a notification is to be sent to the requester and to the technician across all the modules, and also customize the templates. So, these are the simple automation tips that can help you handle your incidents in a better way, resolve them faster, and in an efficient manner. Now, to the second lesson, which is from a game which I never been able to learn or master, poker. But when I talk of poker, the first thing that comes to my mind is the legendary scene from the movie Casino Royale, where Mr. Bond and his opponent try to manipulate each other, hide their cards, pull up a straight emotions, turn face, trying to cheat in or manipulate their opponent. Now, this might work good in a game of poker, but when you think of it in case of an IT environment, you can't pull a straight face or emotionless face trying to hide what you have under your sleeves to your end users. You have to be more transparent to them about the services that they are entitled to, the status of their service, who is accountable for the service expectancy, the workflows, the authorization or approval associated with them, etc. So, in a typical, a transparent help desk setup has this particular request provisioning workflow where an user is able to have a look at all the services that he is entitled to through a service catalog in the self-service portal, choose the service that he wants, and once he chooses and submits the service request, all the necessary approvals and workflows are set into action. The end user is informed about the approvals and the necessary procedures. All the stakeholders are also informed once approval comes in. IT is informed, and all the necessary tasks or any collaboration that is required to provide this service to the end user is set up. And all throughout, communication mechanism is automated between the end user and the IT help desk, and ultimately the services are provided on time. But without such a transparent and a well designed workflow in place, a lot of issues could crop up. Say, for example, a user wants to request a new laptop, but there is no proper service catalog or a listing of services available in his help desk. And the user could end up ordering a pricey higher end laptop that he is not even entitled to. And worse, the user might go ahead and order such a laptop without an approval or knowledge of his manager itself. Now arises the next problem. The request is submitted, the user has no visibility on who is handling his request, when to expect his laptop, what is the status, or anything about the request at all. So he sends in more emails to the system, tries to reach the person who is handling his ticket, and it leads to multiple confusions. So there are a very simple list of things that you can do, which increases the transparency of all the services that you offer to end users. It starts with your IT help desk team getting together into a room, deciding and creating a list of all the business facing IT services that you are offering to your end users, assigning owners, that is technicians who are accountable for that particular service, and then listing all these services only to relevant users. This helps you in a multiple ways. Say, for example, you list a service where users can request for installation of Adobe software, which consumes licenses. So this Adobe software pack is relevant mostly to a designer group than to a sales engineer or to a marketing team. So this particular request can only be published to designers and not to the sales or marketing teams. And with every single service request, ensure that service level targets are mentioned. Both parties, that is the technicians and the end users, are aware of the escalation processes, the tasks that are associated with it, and the approvals that are associated with it, and also the costs that are involved in providing this particular service to the end users. Now, again, to a quick demo on how Service Desk Plus helps you do all these by default. So let me go to admin. Before that, this is the service catalog, which lists all the services to the end user when an end user logs in to his self-service portal. So you can create multiple services under various service categories, and each of these service templates can be customized on a drag and drop interface. You can add additional fields and also have a resource information section, which helps you gather all the necessary information about the service right at the time of ticket creation. And then you can, as I mentioned earlier, publish service templates to only the relevant user groups. So this, being a new hire form, is only being associated with the HR team. And then comes the workflow, where you can set approvals, assign SLA, and involve the collaboration of technicians from multiple teams by creating tasks and assigning it to them. So once a service request is raised, this is how a new joinee request will look like. It'll have all the information about the various services associated with this new joinee hire, every single information that a technician needs, the tasks associated with it, and also the approvals that are necessary. So there you go. Setting up a simple, transparent service catalog with all the associated workflows, approvals, and communication mechanism can help you improve your transparency, the visibility of services, and also the credibility of IT team with your end users. Next is a lesson from everyone's favorite game, which is the slot machine. So actually, the first time when I went into a casino, I chose after going around for a couple of hours trying to figure out where to put in my money. I chose a very cozy, flashy looking slot machine, pulled up a few pennies from my pocket, and started playing very safely with just a pennies, and expecting to win the big jackpot. Obviously, now this might seem good in a casino where you just spend pennies and try to win a big number, but when you see it in an IT service management perspective, just trying to close incidents day in and day out and expecting things to be fine is can lead to disasters. So just closing incidents or putting out fire for now and jumping to the next incident or the next fire and trying to put them out for now is called IT firefighting. Let me tell you a typical scenario which describes IT firefighting at its best. Say, for example, at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, your mail servers go down. At 8:30 a.m., the business users come in, they try to access their mail, it's not accessible, so they start creating requests. And your help desk is already flooded with multiple requests or incidents for this mail issue. And then at you assign a technician to investigate into this issue. He looks up into the issue, diagnoses it, and then finally finds out that it is with the problem is with the mail server. He works on it and then he gets it up. Then by 10 o'clock or 10:30 the mail servers are up. You start closing all your incidents, so users are happy that mail is back again. The IT admin is happy that the thing is being solved. The technician is happy that all his tickets are closed. Things seem fine until the mail service starts to go down again, probably the next hour or the next business day or the day after. Now, the impact of such an IT firefighting mode is that it reduces or drains the efficiency of your IT team to a great extent, as they just keep on solving repeat incidents which have led to multiple IT service interruptions. And it is scientifically observed that being in this IT firefighting mode has a huge negative effect on the motivation and stress levels of your IT team. So, what is the way to get out of this IT firefighting mode? How do you go up the value ladder? Is that it is through a proactive way, wherein you have a system set up integrated with your IT help desk, which automatically recognizes uh, when the mail server goes down, or for the fact whenever there is an issue with your IT environment, when a component is not working properly, when it does not respond to the pings, the network monitoring system automatically raises an alarm to your technicians, or better, creates a ticket into your help desk system, which, as we discussed earlier, can be categorized, prioritized, and then put or assigned to a technician who will then work on it, probably fix it before the business starts, so that no one even knows that such an incident had occurred. Now, the role of IT does not stop here. The technician will have to probably look into any similar incidents that were caused from the mail server, link them, initiate and problem analysis from all these requests, look into it, diagnose the root cause, and if a change, say for example, the replacing the mail server has to be done to fix the root cause and provide a permanent fix, the technician has to initiate a change analysis from the problem request where he analyzed and found the root cause, implement the change after approvals from the cab and all the stakeholders, and finally provide a permanent fix for this mail issue so that this does not come up again. So IT help desk teams have to move beyond incident management. They have to give up just sticking to closing incidents day in and day out, and adapt processes like incident, problem, change, asset management, and CMDB. Not just that, they should ensure that all these processes work in tandem with each other, like we saw in the mail case, where where in linking multiple incidents, creating a problem request, analyzing the root cause, and then moving ahead into the change management and providing a permanent solution for this particular incident. Also, in our recent interactions with a number of our customers and people from IT, we noted that people, most of people in IT like you, wear multiple hats. You're the IT system administrator, you take care of your Active Directory, and also probably take care of network management. So this means that you have to fulfill your multiple roles by jumping across multiple software. But with the recent developments in API technology or with the integration between various software in IT, you should be probably able to do all these functions right from within your help desk. Say, for example, you should be able to create, delete, or enable disable activity users from your help desk or from within a ticket. Let your end users reset their ID password, update their contact details from their help desk self service portal, be able to install, uninstall, or change configurations in your mobile phones again from your help desk tickets. And as we saw earlier, be aware or get a ticket created about any network or system failures in your network automatically. And finally, being able to perform deep dive analytics from your help desk data. So let me just say how this explained scenario can be dealt with in Service Desk Plus. So we see that multiple requests have been raised for the email issue by multiple people. Now, all these tickets can be linked together and created and associated with a problem request for this email and mail server issue. So, all the incidents that were created in for this mail issue are linked with this particular problem. And once analysis, when you realize that a new change has to be created for this uh, particular problem, to provide a resolution to this particular problem, you can create a new change from within the problem request and go ahead and implement the change. So these are some best practices that will help you move ahead the value chain, deliver more value to your business, and also help your IT team get away from the IT firefighting mode. And next is one important lesson or a warning that we carry in our minds with caution when we enter into a casino. Keep track of the of 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 the money that you have in your wallet. Know how much you're willing to spend on a gambling game, the amount you won, the amount you lost on that particular day, just to save yourself from bankruptcy and saving yourself from losing all your hard-earned money on a gambling floor. The same is the case with your IT help desk. If you want to manage all the assets in your IT environment properly, deliver better service, have safer change executions in your network, and also minimize the number of IT service interruptions, you need to have a better IT asset management process in place. And a lack of IT asset management can cause multiple issues. Say, for example, on the hardware asset management front, presence of assets that cause multiple problems, and worse, you don't even knew that such assets existed in your environment, or you having to pay uh, expensive maintenance fees for a particular asset because you were unaware that the contract associated with that particular asset expired a few months back, or no information on the assets that went out of your IT shop to a particular user or to a department as a lease, and then they being misplaced or being lost. And on the software asset management side, you being not able to manage or track the number of software that you purchased versus the number of installations in your network, and the underutilization of software, overutilization, which might lead you into lawsuits or hefty fines from your software vendors. And on a general IT service management perspective, where you have low visibility on the asset relationship, which makes even incident diagnosis harder. Or for case the example of a change implementation of a mail server, without the knowledge of the asset relationship of that mail server with other components in your IT, the various other services that are running on that particular server, other workstations that are supported by this particular server, implementing or planning a change could prove disastrous than the problems that particular mail server has been creating in your environment. So how do you set up an asset management practice with your help desk? We give you very simple tips to get started with your asset management practice. Start with importing multiple devices into your help desk through multiple techniques. Your IT network has an has a host of multiple types of devices, starting from Windows workstations to laptops, Linux laptops, Mac machines, firewalls, routers, telephones, mobile phones, etc. So always ensure that you don't stick to just one discovery technique. So spread out your discovery methods. Say, for example, Windows domain scan for Windows machines, network scans for all your IP recognizable devices, and for Linux and your Mac machines, and probably a barcode scanning technique for all your non-IT assets. Now that you have an inventory of all your assets in your network, it is not just enough that you have such a static repository of all your assets. You should be able to track them right from the time of purchase order creation to their disposal through their life cycle, on who it is assigned to, who was the last owner, whether it's being in a repair state, or is it in an active deployed in your network, or is it being stocked in your IT shop, etc. And then, as I mentioned earlier, being able to track the various software licenses that you own versus the various installation, the list of prohibited software that you don't want them in your network, and your compliance state, etc. And then link or make utilize all the information that you have about your assets, their relationship throughout all the other IT service management processes like incident management. When a user creates a ticket and his workstation is associated with him right at the time of ticket creation, it helps or it makes it easier for the technician to diagnose the incidents faster. Same is the case with your change implementation. And also with the asset management process in place, you'll be able to monitor where all your IT investment goes. You'll be able to monitor all your purchases, the contracts, the maintenance contracts, the depreciation of all your assets, the money that is spent on service, upgrades, etc. Now, to give you a quick glimpse on the IT asset management capabilities of ServiceDesk Plus. So this is the asset dashboard, which gives you information about the total number of workstations or servers that were detected in the previous scan, the number of hardware and software changes that happened in all these workstations, and the status of the assets, which breaks down the number of assets in store, number of unassigned workstation, which you can automatically assign to the last logged in owner, the assets in use, in repair, and expired assets. And you can also group your assets, say, based on their OS, IP address, site, etc. And you also get a software summary page, which gives you an pie chart on how compliant you are, the total number of software that you own, or the total number of software that are recognized on your network, the number of prohibited software, the number of unused licenses. And you also have software metering that lets you look into rarely used managed software, frequently used prohibited software, and so on. So remember, these simple tips can help you get started with asset management process in your IT service management system. Now to the fifth lesson, which is from the game of counting, blackjack. If you have a sharp mind and you're able to follow numbers across the cards on a table, and track these numbers, count the right cards, you will be able to win at at a blackjack table. Now, similarly, in your IT help desk, if you're able to count the right metrics at the right time, you could gain a lot. And at the same time, not having the sufficient reporting and dashboard capabilities, could mean that your IT help desk system is missing out a lot, starting from the lack of visibility on how well your IT help desk is performing. Like simple information like the number of tickets that are coming into your help desk, the number of tickets that are unassigned, the number of tickets that are still open, the number of tickets that are open versus the number of unassigned tickets, the SLA violations, the tickets that are approaching SLA violations, the first call resolved tickets, etc. Also, on a higher level, without a proper reporting, you will not be able to support strategic decisions like designing a training program for your IT help desk team or expansion of your IT help desk team, requesting for more resources or more team members for your IT help desk team, or purchase of more assets to be deployed based on the organizational growth, and so on. And in a recent survey that was conducted by ManageEngine last summer, it was found out that 85% of people in IT service management believe that IT service management analytics could help enhance IT service delivery. And we come up with a list of 8 simple metrics that can help you gauge how good your help desk is performing in fulfilling the IT objectives and fulfilling your business objectives. The basic goals of any help desk system is to ensure business connectivity, continuity, to make the organization productive, and to deliver services on time and within budgets. So these 8 metrics help you ensure that you ensure and gauge how well your help desk team are fulfilling these simple objectives and ultimately contributing towards fulfilling the objectives of the business. And as I mentioned earlier, being able to pull out sufficient information, reports, and dashboards from your help desk data, say for example, the CIO dashboard, which has information about the average cost per request, the outages, the areas with highest customer dissatisfaction, backlog, and SLA complaints, etc., you will be able to communicate the value of IT towards business to your higher level management, which helps you bargain better in terms of hikes or more investments for your IT helpdesk team. So, again, to a quick glimpse on the reporting and dashboarding capabilities in Service Desk Plus. The live dashboard of Service Desk Plus gives you pretty much all the information that you need at a glance across modules, across your help desk, problem and changes, assets, and even a CIO dashboard. So these dashboards give you information about the requests by technician, category, level, priority mode, the number of tickets that are inbound, completed, which are overdue, the SLAs, the open tickets, the tickets that have violated the SLA, the tickets that are reaching or approaching SLA violations, tickets that were received in the last time frame, the tickets that were closed in the last time frame. All these widgets are customizable, and you can also add your custom dashboards and share it with your IT helpdesk admin or your CIO or your CXO. Beyond these live dashboards, you can create multiple out of the box reports across modules, or you can create custom tabular, matrix, summary, audit, or even CI history reports from your help desk data using Service Desk Plus. Also, Service Desk Plus integrates with Analytics Plus, an advanced an advanced analytics software from ManageEngine, using which you will be able to create deep dive reports and dashboards on a simple drag and drop canvas. Now, to the final lesson is about the guidelines and the best practices. The first time, as I mentioned, my experience in my casino, I was not able to get myself to play any particular game or any particular card game or any particular other gambling event, just because I was intimidated by the grandeur of the casino hall, the number of games, the rules associated with each game, the type, the etc. The whole grandeur thing intimidated me a lot, that I went around roaming across multiple areas of the casino until I settled with an slot machine a few hours later. Such could be the case with your ITIL best practices or ITSM guidelines or ITSM principles also. But remember that these are mere guidelines and not rules for you to follow line by line. Just try to understand all these guidelines and adapt whatever suits and whatever helps you deliver better service, and don't let them intimidate you or your IT help desk team members. So, these are the 6 IT help desk lessons, starting from the necessity of simple automations that can help you increase the efficiency on how you deal with your incidents, to the necessity of increased transparency towards your end users, moving beyond IT firefighting and adopting other processes, and also improve extending the scope of your IT management into other areas like Active Directory management, desktop device management, network monitoring, etc. Starting or setting up a simple asset management practice to start with, measuring the right metrics, and then get not letting yourself to get intimidated by the best practices or the complex looking ITSM principle. And thank you for attending this webinar and spending your time with us. Thank you.